You're listening to It's Your Time to Travel. Look up in the sky. It's the superhero of travel. It's Ricky TYUS from It's Your Time to Travel on TalkTainmentradio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard. So today's show, we're talking about the holidays in New York City. And there's no place like New York City for the holidays. This week starts their holiday season. This week starts when they start putting up all the trim, the balloon inflation, the department stores are starting to set their holiday windows. So this is the week that everything starts for New York City. This is a holiday week. Thursday is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And when the spirits of New Yorkers take a turn for sentimental annual traditions, which include giant balloons floating down 6th Avenue on Thanksgiving Day, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree illuminating to great fanfare, and the world-famous Rockettes dazzling audiences at Radio City for the Christmas show. And beyond the big events, you'll find plenty of festive things going on. You can go gift shopping at outdoor markets at Bryant Park, at all the different parks at the different parks. They have outdoor things going on there. They have outdoor markets. So this is the start of New York City's holiday festivities, and nobody in the world does it better than New York. And it starts with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And today we're discussing the holidays in New York City, but in a future show we will bring you a story about a weekend that we're going to spend exploring Black-owned Jamaica in New York City. You may have heard of Jamaica Queens. In the hip-hop lyric or pass through the area on the way to John F. Kennedy International Airport, but there's much more to the bustling neighborhood than just passing through it. And while rappers like Nicki Minaj, 50 Cent, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and A Tribe Called Quest put Jamaica on a global stage and proudly represents it in their music, the legacy of black culture in the area runs deeper. There's jazz legends like John Coltrane, Lester Young, Illinois Jacquet, and Charlie Mingus, once called Jamaica home. Numerous black-owned restaurants, shops, and cultural institutions, both new and generations deep, provide a distinct identity to the community. The core of Jamaica, roughly between Hillsdale Avenue, Linden Boulevard, Merrick Boulevard, and the Van Wyck Expressway, is a scrappy area with a lot of heart. And through Greater Jamaica, though Greater Jamaica takes on neighborhood areas south of South Jamaica, Springfield Gardens, Rosedale, Lorrington, and Jamaica Estates, spending a weekend exploring the southeastern corner of Queens is a great way to uncover a frequently overlooked cultural hub and support local businesses. So this is one of the things we plan to do in the future when we go to New York. I don't know if it'll be done in January. It'll probably be done once the weather gets a little bit warmer. But it's one of the things that we plan to do. We plan on doing a story about Jamaica Queens and the history behind Jamaica Queens, and turn it into a story and talk about it on It's Your Time to Travel. It's one of the things we plan to do sometime when the weather changes. I have a cousin that stays in Manhattan, and he can videotape the whole event because that's what he does. He writes stories, so we'll get him on the air and talk about Jamaica, Queens, and the history in Jamaica, Queens. But right now we're talking about the holidays in New York City. In the first half of the show, we talked about several things. Did you know, one of the things we talked about in the first half of the show is, did you know Brooklyn has the most diverse Caribbean population in the world? Didn't know that. I didn't know that they have a neighborhood known as Little Caribbean, and it has the most diverse Caribbean population in the world. Didn't know that until I started researching New York City. Pretty amazing. Another thing that we talked about in the first half of the show is we talked about a play called Thoughts of a Colored Man. It's a play that's going on Broadway right now. The play is set in present-day Brooklyn. The show talks into the experience of 7 black men, each in different phases of their life, each facing individual challenges and social pressures. These everyday universal scenarios, the birth and death of loved ones, complications of parenthood, career shortcomings, community shifting, gentrification, exploration of sexual identity. It allows everyone to see a part of themselves in the character. This is a play we plan to attend. Hopefully I can put a group together sometime around Martin Luther King birthday. So right now, the video is a video that was shot on November 14th, and it's a trip to New York City. We're on a bus, and what is actually going on right now is we're traveling to the city. The title of the video is New York City Skyline, and we're traveling into the city from New Jersey, and we're approaching the toll road. And as you see in the background, it's the skyline of New York City coming to light. And one of the features, and I'm not sure that I shot it very well, is we get a pretty close-up view of the Statue of Liberty as we go by. But what this 2-minute and 29-minute video is a video of us approaching New York skyline, and this is on Sunday, November 15th, or Sunday, November 14th, I'm sorry. This is on Sunday, November 14th, and this is our bus approaching the skyline in New York. And again, the title for today's show is The Holidays in New York City, and this week starts their holiday festivities. The Macy Thanksgiving Day Parade is one of the biggest events that my company does, which is TYUS and Travel. And this event this week for the Macy Thanksgiving Day Parade normally brings over a million people to New York for this parade. They normally arrive Tuesday. Wednesday they have the balloon inflation going on, where people it's free to visit the balloon inflation, where you see all the balloons is being put together for the parade on Thursday. You will see them inflated on Wednesday of this week. And then after the parade, a lot of people go window shopping, because now all the major department stores, all the flagship stores in New York, have all the Christmas decorations up in the windows, and that's a big event. That's a tour that is actually done where people tour on a bus and they get to see all the amazing Christmas displays in New York. This picture in the background now, that picture is a picture that we shot of Chinatown. We spent the day in Chinatown. We parked our bus on a main road in Chinatown, and we visited Chinatown. One of the things that we talked about in the first half of the show was all the little shops that we visited to in Chinatown, and we actually, the meal that we ate in Chinatown, the meal that we ate in Chinatown was we found a Popeyes in Chinatown on the main strip in Chinatown that had little or no people in it. So on that particular Sunday, we ate our meal at Popeyes in Chinatown. How many people can say that they ate Popeyes in Chinatown? We can say that. And on this particular bus tour that we took, there was about 28 people that went. The trip was a lot smaller than what was originally planned because the original tour was canceled. And it was 28 people that went on the trip. Most of them came from Cleveland, Ohio. We stopped in Cleveland and picked them up. Had a fantastic time. But that picture that you saw in the background was a picture that I took in Chinatown. We spent the day in Chinatown. So one of the things we started talking about in the first half of the show was New York City is named the most exciting city in the world. I'll tell you the difference now between New York City and Las Vegas. Las Vegas is all glittery and lights and shiny because everything is new. New York City doesn't have that glitter and grime that Las Vegas has, but it has culture. They have all the different neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, when we were in Chinatown, if we went just a little bit further, we would have been in Little Italy. You know, so New York has a lot of culture, and that's one of the reasons why it's named the most exciting city in the world. New York has been named the most exciting city in the world. The Big Apple came out on top in the annual Index Global magazine called Time Out. It beat off competition from the likes of Chicago, Los Angeles, Melbourne, and London. New York City's high ranking was attributed to its diversity and culture, as well as its world-class restaurants and art scenes, with 91% of those surveyed agreeing that there's always something to see or do in the city that never sleeps. So in our trip to New York City, we got there on a Saturday night. Half the group went to a play called Clyde. The other half of the group went shopping or sightseeing, and then another part of the group just got a bite to eat. We parked our bus on 9th Avenue, and we sat at a street side restaurant. We sat outdoors and had a meal, and this outdoor restaurant had heaters, so it's not like we were sitting out in the cold, and we had a great time. We sat there. We had a conversation with some of the locals. Some of the locals stopped and talked to us. There's a guy that stopped and talked to us about baseball because one of the guys had a hat on that says Cardinals. So this guy stopped and talked to us. So everybody was friendly. We had a great time. We talked to the police, and we found out these two policemen hadn't been on the force very long, and they were only making $45,000 a year, so they said they were basically starving on $45,000 a year in New York. They would be starving. And they said once they've been a police officer for 5 years, their salary doubles to almost $90,000 or $100,000. Again, in the background is a video of our trip entering New York City, and the video is titled New York City Skyline. So we had a chance to talk to some local people. We actually went to Harlem. There's a song by Bobby Warnett called Across 110th Street. We actually crossed 110th Street. We actually went to Harlem. One of the amazing sights that I saw it in Harlem, and I thought it was pretty amazing to me, was we went past a apartment building, and instead of everybody pulling in, everybody backed in. Now, sometimes you see people, like one person back in, the other person pull in, but all the cars in this parking space were all backed in. I thought that was pretty amazing. Okay, but New York is named the most exciting city of the world. Melbourne, which came in second place, scored most highly when it came to happiness, creativity, eating, and live music, while third place, Chicago, was a home to the happiest residents. Wow. I still find that hard to believe. Berlin was seventh on the list, boasting more vegans than any other city, with 8% following a plant-based diet. And while Paris was only named ninth, the most exciting city right now, it seems its residents are the most active in the bedroom. Parisians reveal that they are having sex up to 33 times a year, more than any other city on the list, and perhaps unsurprisingly, the French capital was also the most sleep-deprived city on the list. Meanwhile, UK Manchester was 15th, was home to the largest number of drinkers. But the residents of Madrid spent the most time in bars, visiting up to 44 times a year. The survey lets us understand what makes the world's greatest cities tick right now. The cities at the top of our list are centers of diversity, diversion, and dissent dotted across the world. Places where anything and does happen. Where new ideas, delicious food, and world-class art and entertainment are born every day. And where people from all corners can come together with a shared civic identity. That is definitely New York. Every single one of these cities should be on your travel bucket list for 2022. These results were coupled with insights from Time Out Global Network and of local editors and experts, and put through a scoring system in which factors such as food, drink, culture, sociability, happiness, attractiveness to visitors were taken into account. So again, the number one city is New York. Is absolutely the number one city. Melbourne is number 2, Chicago is number 3, London is number 4. Los Angeles, number 5. Montreal, Canada is number 6. Berlin is number 7. Glasgow, Scotland is number 8. Paris, France is number 9. Tokyo is number 10. Madrid, Spain is number 11. Cape Town, South Africa is number 12. Las Vegas is number 13. Mexico City is number 14. Manchester United is number 15. Philadelphia is number 16. Barcelona, Spain is number 17. Let's skip some. D.C., Washington, D.C. is number 20. Tel Aviv is 21. Toronto, Canada is 23. Birmingham United Kingdom is number 24. Dublin, Ireland is number 25. Miami, Florida is number 27. Porto, Portugal is number 28. Singapore, which is high on my list of places to visit to, is 29. Edinburgh, Scotland is 30. San Francisco, which is high on my list to revisit, is 31. Dubai is 32. Vienna is 34. Shanghai is 35. Moscow is 36. Seattle, Washington is 38. So there's a list that will all be posted on my Facebook page. It's your time to travel. Hong Kong, for example, is 41. Boston is 42. Rio de Janeiro is 43. Marseilles, France is 44. Bangkok is 45. Beijing is 47. And Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey is 48. And actually, Istanbul, Turkey is a package that I'm working on for a client, and they're number 48. But when visiting New York, the three biggest mistakes travelers make when visiting New York, and the number one mistake is thinking New York subway system is difficult and scary. And I did this on a previous show, and the reason why I bring this back up is because on the bus trip that we did, there's a lady on the bus trip who lived in New York City for a while, and she's explaining to people how the subway system works. So I thought I would bring this back out again when I'm talking about New York. But thinking the New York subway system is difficult and scary. The subway is the lifeline of New York City. If it did not exist, New York City would not be the city it is today. It moves 5.7 million people every day. 5.7 people every weekday, and is able to accomplish this feat because it's safe and easy to understand. Gone are the days of dangerous gangs and graffiti-laden trains. While those may be prominent images from the 1970s and 80s and have become a part of popular culture, they no longer are true. And while the subway system may seem hard to navigate, and with a little research in an insider tip, is easy to master. And here are some ways to stay safe in the subway and navigate it safely. Knowing which direction you are heading in Manhattan. The majority of the trains run north and south, uptown and downtown. Only the L train, the number 7 train, and the Times Square and Grand Central shuttle truly operates east and west. Know which train will get you closest to the destination that you are visiting if it's a landmark. 99% of the time you can check their website and see which train is best, local or express. Local trains make all stops. Express trains will skip stops in order to move people faster. Before getting on an express, make sure that it stops at your desired location. Otherwise, you may find yourself quickly in the outer borough. Don't be intimidated by the subway map. It's posted online. On the wall at the station at the top of subway cars. Once you know where you're headed, you can easily find the correct line you should be on and can follow the specific color that it highlights. Ask a local if you're not sure about the direction or the stop. Ask a local train rider. New Yorkers can be very nice and happy to help. Utilizes resource. Check the MTA and info on the website. Look up in the sky. It's a superhero of travel. It's Ricky TYUS from It's Your Time to Travel. And we're able to take you around the world by air, land, or sea, even by flying saucer. And we're live on TalkTenRadio.com the way it should be heard.